continuing down this little section in the canoes, and ahead of you, you see um, masks kind of like shaking on the edges of the river itself, and you see just these horrific, like wooden, very gaudy masks as you kind of go by, and it just piques your attention enough to notice one. You notice another, but then you start to get the feeling that you're noticing these maybe the same ones. That perhaps these creatures are actually following you as you paddle downriver. And then we're going to have you all getting to a point in the river. I don't think I actually added canoes to this yet, sadly. So we'll have you all kind of paddling into this point. My sweet, sweet canoe tokens are good for one direction and one direction only. Okay. So we'll have you all kind of paddling towards this point here. And as you kind of start to see this tree across the way, you are going to spot another of these goblins who's wearing a big mask. And you basically see as it kind of raises a small little hand, and it's just going to kind of call out to you all, "Halt!"
So Jarek will kind of in the lead boat. He'll hearing this, he's going to dip the paddle, I guess, into the water to try to slow the essentially stop paddling, and um he'll just look towards the creature, and then glance back towards the others, and then um tail.
"These are our waters. What are you doing here?"
We are just passing through. We don't want any trouble.
Hmm. Let me have you do a persuasion here. No trouble, but you'll have to pay the toll. Oh, I
We
guess it
are
might help to actually make her visible.
we are but poor travelers. What is your toll?
Shinies? Food. Slaves? Just give us something. Pay the toll.
We may be able to spare some food for you.
As she yells out, just pay the toll, you see as like this large swaying stack of masks kind of pops out of the actual jungle beside you, and they almost like sway over the water and start to dip down almost almost kind of like in a 90-degree arc.
You said shinies as well. How many?
How many do you have?
So Jack's going to look back toward the others. He doesn't have all that much on him.
Valdis will like go into his coin pouch and pull out a gold coin and go, ooh, well, I got one big shiny here.
Make a persuasion. I just saw it, Tom. My bad. Thought I looked earlier.
Oh, that's good.
One's not gonna cut it. One shiny, and what else you got?
Valdis will start like rummaging through his things and go pull out his dagger and go, well, it's not really shiny, but it's sharp.
All
And,
right, that's good. That's good. As she says that, you actually see as another set of masks kind of stumbles out of the jungle behind her, and two of them fall off of the top and they like fall into the water. So the stack is kind of half as tall, about the size of a human, and now there's two little goblins who are like swimming back onto land.
Alan's going to offer rations, like they're the greatest thing that's ever happened to anybody. One ration.
Oh yeah, now y'all are speaking. So shiny, food, and a stabby. Okay, okay. So, for what it is worth here, you guys will effectively be about to pass through this little border with the goblins and satisfy them. Part of what I had talked to you about before, Tom, is I like the idea of you basically having been trying to hide from these goblins for not too long. So at this point, I'm just going to throw it out to you. I feel like you have been sitting by listening to this happening, and you can be kind of wherever you want to have been hiding. And it's now going to be up to you to kind of like try to jump out of hiding and be like, please get me the fuck away from these goblins. Or however you kind of want to roleplay it. But this is your chance to join people who might not be looking to have you for dinner.
Okay, I imagine I would probably be hiding underneath the roots of this tree. And I would probably try to like casually just join the group as they pass by it. And almost not introduce myself, but just wait like until somebody just noticed that suddenly they had a gnome in their group.
All right, word. Let's see. So while you guys start to paddle past these goblins, Eku is going to, Yarek, you're going to hear in your head the voice of Eku as she says, "We should turn left down this river. It's a safer path. Follow that route." And she'll basically point you towards that left, and essentially tell you not to take the path that leads to the right.
Okay, so Jarek will do his best, sort of not to visibly react as he hears this in his head, and he will just essentially follow her directions and try to start steering the canoes to the left.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she's used her telepathy on you to where you would even know that she didn't actually say that.
Yeah, I think she'd appeared in my dreams once, but I don't think she'd ever actually spoken to me telepathically.
Gotcha. Yeah. So she has that sense basically that there's somebody there, and effectively, I think she can also kind of pry into his thoughts to know that he's also somebody friendly. So you guys can start to turn the canoes down this. You do see as kind of the goblins do like follow along a little bit, but they are definitely like a sideshow of clowns while they are stacked. But the fun part about them is that they are also stacked about 15 feet high. So they're like not intimidating because they are still tiny little creatures, but they kind of have an intimidation to them. So that'll be the next few moments for you all. With that, let me have, I think, do a dexterity if you have. I don't have your stats like in my little sheet right now, but if you have stealth, or yeah, I feel like stealth. Otherwise, you can just do a dexterity check to hop into one of the boats with dirt. For what it's worth, I believe right now the front boat has light, the middle boat has light, and I think the back boat is in darkness. So you'll see, like basically, what is it? I think the one is the light cantrip, and one is, no, both of you have the light cantrip. So it's like 20 foot of bright light in each of the front two boats, and then the last boat, you can see that that person is kind of just following along in darkness.
Sorry, but Baldur should have had light on too. He also has the light cantrip.
All right, word. My bad. That is interesting cantrip choices. I think it will be amazing if we find out that Dirt has a light cantrip. So yeah, all three boats have a little bit of light to them. Which boat do you think you will hop into, Dirt? While they go by, can I first have Yarek describe himself? And then, for what it's worth, because this has been a 3-person campaign, I have them all with sidekicks. At 4 people, we're going to kind of retire your sidekicks. But during this week, Tom, I'm actually going to have you kind of prepare to create your backup character, because that's who your sidekick is. And this campaign definitely requires that each player is effectively ready for a character to die.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So Jarek is looks like he's about 6 feet, pretty well built, but lean. He's wearing studded leather armor. You can see he's got a pair of swords. Looks like one's a scimitar, one's a short sword on his strapped to his chest. He's got or to his belt. He's got a crossbow kind of over his back. He's got kind of short black hair, kind of a kind of scruffy face, kind of similar to what the token looks like actually. I think I said can't remember if I said green or blue eyes, so we'll call it greenish blue eyes.
Can't see your eyes right now.
Yeah. I thought I had written down his appearance somewhere. I can't find it, but and essentially, yeah, he pretty much looks like his token, and he's, like I said, he's wearing studded leather armor. He's got a crossbow, a couple swords.
Awesome. Sounds like a walking armory.
So he's the first one to pass by, and then you will see following behind, if you can describe Island, and then after Island, Killin.
Oh, sorry. Did you want me to describe Zeros too?
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, I do want to describe them because right now they are basically each in a canoe. And then once you have the description, that's how I'm going to have you choose which boat you're about to jump into.
Okay. Yeah. So in the first canoe with Jarek is another man. Somewhat shorter, pretty thin. He's kind of incongruously wearing given the heat and he's kind of wearing what looks like a little bit of a heavier hood over his face. Very dark clothing. Don't really see any visible weaponry or armor on him. He's pretty essentially nondescript, but yeah, I guess that's him. And he seems to be sticking close to Jarek, like kind of always kind of keeping his eyes on him.
You guys hear my beginning of what was going on with the island?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, I maybe hit the wrong button. So the second canoe, guy in the front, tall, really skinny though, kind of, surprisingly skinny and light, blonde hair. He's wearing leather armor. He's got a pickaxe. He's got some daggers and a mace, and he looks ready, to be here. He looks happy to be out in the jungle exploring. Behind him's another guy uh, who's sort of looks a bit similar, has a little bit bigger build, and he looks like a fighter and support. He's not a leader. He's like a bolstering the canoe, paddling.
And then if we can get the description of Valdis and Taryn.
Yeah, and in the third canoe, you'll see a man. Well, sitting around 5'6", black hair, fair skin, and pretty youthful looks. And he has some muscle, but it's obvious that he isn't like really trained or anything. It's more like he's gotten it from moving around and just keeping fit, basically. He's wearing just regular clothes and a leather armor on top of that, a rapier on his hip, and a backpack. And on that backpack, you can see a violin. For Terran, you'll see quite the shorter man, around 3 feet only, a halfling. Brown hair with a beard, fair skin too. He has a dagger on his hip, and he's wearing mostly brown clothing and brown leather. Very just keeping uniform. And that's it. You can see him, I think.
So as they paddle by, which boat do you think Dirt's going to leap into?
Definitely the third boat.
So make a dexterity. If you have stealth, you can do a stealth check.
Is it stealth if I'm trained?
Yeah, like if you've got the proficiency for stealth, that's the only difference right now. Is it adds like the 2 proficiency. But you do have stealth, so you've got a 5.
No, I don't. Oh, why did I click dex save? Sorry. I rolled a natural 1 anyway.
Yeah. So one thing is I will always take your first roll regardless. So like when you roll the wrong thing, sometimes it'll work in your favor, sometimes it won't. But as far as I'm concerned, it's always the first rolls that matter. So like you don't actually have dex proficiency, so that's the same as your dexterity check anyways. What's your advantage on dex for?
I believe it's stealth while I am hiding within rocky terrain.
Okay. Yeah, so like in this case, you kind of like go to hop into the boat and you do hop in like behind them, but you don't realize that in that boat, Valdis actually has 2 people and they have 6 paddles. So you hop like right on top of a bunch of paddles, and immediately there's just a ruckus as you jump onto effectively like a bunch of wood and just start making all of this noise right behind him. So is Valdis in the front of the boat and Terran's in the back?
Yeah, Valdis in front, Terran back.
Yeah, so he basically hops in right behind Terran. Terran 100% will notice. If I can just have you all do perception checks for your actual characters. Oh man, Terran's got. Oh wait, no, Valdis has a terrible passive perception.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So, Island, from the middle boat, you'll actually hear this same little ruckus as you all go by. Everybody else is a little bit discombobulated as you go under, as you kind of round that corner. When he jumps into it, there's actually a group of these goblins that are restacked up, and they're like leaning over the water, and they're trying to like growl at you to still be intimidating. And yeah, they're gonna do a really great job as they go over you, just like "Arr," just kind of growling at you like a wild animal. The two on the top that are making the most noise, one of them has like a boar tusk face mask, and the other one has a crocodile face mask. And perhaps they're doing such a great job because that fucking crocodile is still on your minds. So what kind of thoughts do you all have effectively right now? Taryn and Valdis. Wait, no, I said that wrong. Taryn and Eileen are the ones who will actually kind of pick up that you guys have an extra body on board.
I'm gonna kind of assume that Valdis has a handle on that and sort of cover because I think because Valdis isn't telling us he's got a problem with what's going on.
Jarek is so focused on kind of the front that he has really no idea what's going on behind him. He's not very perceptive at this point. All his attention is focused on sort of the river ahead of him and these goblins kind of intimidating them on the way.
So I'm watching Valdis like with a little kind of quizzical look on my face to see what he does.
I'm pretty sure Valdis didn't notice anything.
No, yeah, it's definitely Taryn.
Yeah.
You can still roleplay whatever Taryn will do. I know I've never asked you to have a voice for him or anything, but
But Terran would go like, look at this stranger hopping into the boat and like poke him at. I think you're in the wrong boat, mate.
Oh god, don't kill me.
No worries, no killing here. Just,
Everything in this
who are
place has
you?
been trying to kill me.
Yeah, we had that too. Jungle is really awful.
Don't even know where this is.
Oh well, yeah, it's the jungle. It's like I said, it's an awful place so far. Just massive creatures trying to eat you. Nasty place.
Listen, I won't get in the way. If I could just get past these goblins, I'll leave you guys alone.
Sure. How long you been out there anyway?
No, it feels like months.
Oh, look on the bright side. You survived so far.
Yeah, just about.
I'm gonna
Where are
slow
you?
my boat up so I can kind of get up next to you guys and take a peek and see what's going on in that boat.
You going somewhere warm and dry?
so as he kind of pushes back, it wouldn't be long before the passive actually do kick in where Island and Jarek would 100% sense you. Um, Describe what you look like for them to understand what they're looking at.
Okay, so Dirt is a deep gnome. He's quite old. He's 232 years old. And he looks exactly how you'd imagine an old man would look like if been left out in this jungle for any period of time. He's very dirty. His face and his beard is all over the place. His robes may have been a different color than brown at some point. and he's got grey skin, grey white eyes. You've probably seen gnomes before. He's a bit taller than your average gnome. And that's it, really. He's got a quarterstaff as well and a backpack.
So as you drop back to kind of investigate, what's Island thinking?
I'll ask Valdis, like, who's your dirty little friend, buddy?
And as he said in Valdishly, "Oh, well, hello there. Fancy meeting someone new here?"
He put his hand up. Hi.
So, my name's Valdis. What's yours?
Well, everyone calls me Dirt.
Ah.
Dirt Bubble Bolt.
I imagine you're no friend of those goblins back there, huh?
No, they've been trying to eat me.
Is there anything special you could do, Dirt Bubble Vault?
I know a few spells.
Oh, you're a
Oh.
magician.
If you're tired, I can help you sleep.
Seems creepy.
I mean,
So Jarek, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
just about was gonna go like, I mean, if I'm tired, I probably don't need help sleeping.
Yes.
So we have a laugh about that, the two of us.
But excuse me, I'm just I'm a bit nervous.
Jarek's gonna kind of hand off as he finally becomes aware of this sort of stowaway and hears some of the conversation reaching his ears. He's gonna hand off the sort of the paddle temporarily to Zeros, and then he's gonna move back towards like the back of the front boat and just kind of call out, "We got a was that a stowaway? What's going on back there?"
Yeah, seems like we picked up a new friend, I guess.
Or we inadvertently robbed the goblins of their dinner, something like that.
Yeah, a friend.
And I mean, we gave them some rations.
That's a fair trade, I suppose.
Well, if you're friendly, then you're welcome to come with us. Can't imagine it's much good being out in this place alone.
It is definitely not a good place to be on your own. I would enjoy the safety of company.
Where are your do you have any companions?
No, everything that I've ever known or loved is probably miles away from here.
You from the port, or are you from where are you from?
I am from the Small Teeth Mountains, which is south of Baldur's Gate. I have a cave there that is not mine anymore, but I will get it back. It will be mine again.
Like, did you get evicted from your cave?
Yeah, by Deathbeak.
So a bird evicted you from your cave?
Uh, part bird, part beast? No.
You get an animal handling from everybody but Dirt. Oh yeah, you guys have no fucking clue what that could be.
So how'd you get all the way down here?
Well, I went north, furious about this creature kicking me out of my house. I was trying to raise some money to pay somebody to get my cave back, but there was no work that I could seem to find, so I thought, I know, I'll hire a boat. Then, the next thing I know, these flaming fists guys have me bundled into the back of a different boat. I wind up on this place. I escape and run into the jungle. And then, well, what feels like a long time passed, and I bumped into you.
I really hope you know the story of Candide, because that's all I can imagine right now.
I can't say I do.
Well, yeah. Can't imagine how you survived all on your own out here as long as you did, but glad you did, and maybe we can maybe it'll turn out we can help each other.
Well, I'm small and I guess I kind of look like a rock, so that probably helped.
I like him. He's kind of funny.
I like you too.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Can you cook?
Um, I probably not so well with the ingredients I have here, but back at my cave, I tell you, there was a serious oven going on. Don't know what the D&D equivalent of an oven is.
An oven. All right. Well, we'll look forward to that when we get to camp. Is that soon that we're camping? Like, how far away from these goblins do we need to get?
You guys are still looking for about like 2 more hours downstream. But as far as things go, we can effectively get you all there. The next few hours of your actual trip is just absolute horrendous downpour. It's been raining pretty much this entire day, and it doesn't show any signs of letting up. But you can eventually find a spot where you all can probably do something around like that next bend, kind of in that X, and basically stop for the night. And at that point, it's again one of those choices. Do you want to camp on the north side of the river or on the south side of the river?
Uh, the south side of the river for me. How about you guys?
I imagine one's much like the other. South sounds fine.
Well, the south gets more light, right? For me, that's what I was thinking.
So you can basically put your canoes up on shore. You all can head into the actual edge of the jungle in something that's at least a little bit more like a beach, where you can actually like get the canoes up instead of something that's a little steeper. Pulling the canoes up, you are able to take shelter. You all can set up for the night. Um, do you have any sort of tent or anything in Dirt's supplies?
1 second. No.
So they just so happen to have enough space as they set up everything. You all will still end up with basically 2 people under each tent, as far as things go here. On some level, we're going to kind of like retcon that you have um, damn, why can't I think of the word? Hired hand, not what I'm looking for, but that you have your other with you. Where on some level, like you guys will need another tent shortly here. But basically, you are more or less covered for 8 people right now. At present, like this group, how we have them in game is 8 people. But we can work with that later. But you guys can set up camp. At some point, you will see as Eku is going to take a large barrel out of one of the canoes. She's going to head over into the water, and you're just going to see her dumping out a tremendous amount of food. And she's just dumping it into the water, and then slowly starts to scrub this barrel.
Valdez is seeing as he noticed that Dirt didn't have a tent as we were setting up. Can ask him, do you have any supplies with you? Are you pretty barebacked?
And he'll start rummaging through his backpack to see what he hasn't lost. He'll pull out a book, a little bag of sand, small knife, ink, and an ink pen, and some parchment.
Do you happen to have any insect repellent on you?
He sort of laughs. I wish. That would have been handy a few nights ago, I tell you.
Well, your wish is granted. I'll give him 18 insects repellent for my 38. Well, the salve. I don't know if I can actually. This one bundle is 20. So one.
Yeah, so you should just be able to delete one, and then just make sure that you have the one that you have is still fresh. If you go under Dirt's inventory, if you search for insect repellent, just make sure to lower the quantity down to 18.
Is it incense or salve?
I think that's
Salve.
the salve.
Yep, salve.
Yeah, and once we had kind of gotten the canoes out onto shore, Jarek would have come over to sort of more formally introduce himself, give his name, ask Dirt's name, all that sort of stuff.
Okay, yeah, and he'll shake your hand and thank you for allowing him to travel with you.
Well, we can, given our experience in the jungle so far, having another friend around is can't be a bad thing.
Yeah, and it wouldn't really feel right to leave someone stranded out in the jungle like that.
Thank you very much. I'm lucky that you're kind.
So a little bit later, you're going to see as Eku starts to walk up from the shore, and she's going to set down a barrel, which clearly is far heavier than it was when she went over there. But she's going to set it down just kind of in the center of camp, and just kind of mention everybody. Here, if anyone's hungry, dinner is all prepared.
Excellent. What is it?
It's just a beet mash. It's kind of sweet, a little savory, not much flavor overall.
Awesome. I love beets. Thank you, Eku.
Yeah, thanks, Eku. Sounds lovely.
Dirt will thank her as well and enjoy his first proper meal for a while.
When you go to thank her, she's going to shake your hand, and you're just going to feel a moment where she kind of pauses a little bit longer than you might expect, as she kind of holds your hand like between her two. Like when she goes to shake it, she'll have like one palm up from her right hand, and then once you grasp hers, she's going to put her other hand on top and kind of shake between your hands. And she just kind of takes a moment before she kind of bows her head low and then eventually says, "You are most welcome, Dirt." If you'd like, you can roll an Arcana. She 100% just casts a spell. You have a pretty good sense that she just casts Detect Good or Evil.
I will smile at her and say, "You have nothing to fear."
And a most wonderful thing to know. You'll apologize. You'll have to accept my apologies for simply checking. But I always have to make sure.
One can never be too careful, especially when picking up strangers in strange places.
So, depending on what you all are looking to accomplish here, you effectively have camp. You have a spot where you can sit down and take a rest. And you now have 4 people for watches. What would you all like to do? Are you interested in accomplishing anything else tonight, or are you ready to sit down and try to get through the night?
I think Jarek would take some time to um, kind of explain to Dirt a little bit about kind of where they've come from. They're essentially an in game and in character kind of recap, mentioning the crocodile and kind of what happened to them before he joined them. And he would maybe also take some time to uh, go over what Eku had told them about kind of their rules of engagement, for lack of a better word, about, if we encounter any sort of intelligent beings, we're not supposed to initiate. Um, we shouldn't be like antagonistic. We shouldn't kill anybody unless it's, in defense of ourselves. But essentially, aside from that, he would, he'd kind of he'd be doing this while he's sort of eating the food that Eku prepared, and he'd thank her kind of formally, and then suggest that they maybe set up a watch order, and he would offer to take the first watch.
I think while you were telling him, Dirt would ask uh, if there is a gold reward for helping.
You mean for rescuing from the goblins? Yeah, I don't know.
I just mean like you guys would be given a quest by the woman who is rotting.
Is this field guardian that we're hoping to find? Apparently, it may have some information that may be useful. So if we can, I'm sure if we can recover that and get it back to town, there will be some reward in it. Some reward for us for that. We've also agreed to assist Echo with her own task in exchange for her guiding us and her helping us.
Yeah, so like right now, you guys have kind of 3 different quests, and then your own interests, like in the camps of the Order of the Gauntlet. But in general, you all right now are working under sort of the promise of two of the people are rich patrons, and you're just assuming they're going to take care of you. Neither have really discussed an actual payment. Eku, obviously, that's part of kind of your overall deal, but part of what she also would have mentioned in the previous conversations was simply leaving the port. If you can stay alive, you can get rich pretty quickly.
So you want in on our project. You want to join the team? Is that right?
Yes, I would like to earn enough gold to get my cave back.
From the bird. You're gonna buy it back from the bird.
I will pay somebody to remove the bird for me.
Oh, well, that might be us, right? Yeah. But anyway, I think if you can show your worth, we'll certainly cut you in.
I will do my best.
What do you guys think? Is that all right?
I certainly don't think we can leave him here.
Well, I mean, we could.
I have to imagine if he survived this long in the jungle, then he must have some skills that can be of use to us.
I agree. He looks sturdy.
Well, the more the merrier.
Then it's agreed. Welcome aboard, Dirt.
Thank you.
All right, it's beat mash for me. And then what shift? Do I get the second shift of watch? Is that right?
Well, if you want it, I can take third or fourth, depending what Dirt wants.
I'll take first watch.
Fine by me, I can take the last watch.
Oh, good. Then I'll take third.
So you all can sit down for the evening. It's raining harder than it was before, and it's quite horrendous for quite a bit there. And when everybody goes to turn in, Dirt, when you are ready, do a perception check for me. Might as well actually just roll two. So the wonders of beet mash, certainly a little bit much for your stomach, having basically spent a good bit in the jungle, just kind of getting by. You feel safe for the first time in a while. You start to doze off. Just kind of enjoy yourself. You feel relatively sure that you're still awake. You have pretty vivid dreams, but the jungle itself doesn't seem to be a problem. There's a nice, comforting rain that seems to be keeping you relaxed. And after a while, the rain picks up a little bit. You kind of stumble out of your dream, looking around, get that sensation that you've done your duty, and it's about time to go wake up Island. So when you are ready, Island, let me get two from you as well. So you're in same pretty heavy rains. Much of the day before has been kind of the strong rains, pretty high winds. You're relatively sheltered inside of the jungle, but it doesn't change the fact that even underneath the actual tents, there's good bits of time where the rain kind of like whips up and actually like just essentially it's diving into the tents, almost lateral to the ground. And It's frustrating, but you kind of have a relaxed watch. Doesn't really seem to be anything to pay attention to here. You're feeling at least a little bit comfortable. You know you shouldn't be, but you're relaxing. And it's not until you're probably a good part of the way through your second hour of watch that you do get a sensation that there's a different sound in the air. And sounds like creatures that are flying through the forest canopy. And it's not really what you want to hear. What do you think you're going to do?
Oh, I'm gonna get up and stand by the fire and try to see what's going on in the canopy. Like, I'm gonna try to understand what it is. Can I?
So
dig in?
I think that'll end up being
Survival?
you could do a survival.
Like, I've been in the woods before. I've been in the jungle a little bit. I'm hoping I might know what it is.
That's not necessarily what survivals are either, though. So you're picking up signs of creatures that they're definitely like rather small creatures, but when like to the ear, they don't have a lot of weight to them. But when you see signs of them, you're picking up a pretty large wingspan. And it's making you wonder what they are. They seem to be acting a lot like bats. But you're not too sure. And you're definitely getting at least a little bit worried that whatever these creatures are, they're moving through the through the woods and coming closer to your camp.
All right, I'm gonna wake Valdis up because it's gonna be his turn soon anyway. Is there a tree nearby? I'm thinking about casting light on a tall lit thing to get us some view into the woods, into the canopy.
There's no lack of trees, so yeah, you could cast light on a whole tree.
Let me see how I do waking up Valdis, and then that'll be my next move.
So what's your thought waking up Valdis?
Hand on the shoulder. Valdis, wake up, something's coming.
Ah, well, what?
Something's coming, buddy. Get up.
Okay, sure.
I need you to look. I hear some bats or something coming at us.
So, it's probably not the largest map in the world, but it's probably still bigger than you guys really need. But if you guys can place yourselves on the map to tell me where you are.
I think I'm near this tree because this is the tree that I'm going to cast light on.
Gotcha. So as you move over to the tree to put the light spell onto it, you see towards the peak of the tree, there is a large creature. Seems somewhat insect-like, but it's pretty big for its size. It's probably about the size of like your chest. It has two sets of wings, and it seems like it's alerted to your presence here. Valdis and Island, what are you two doing?
I'm going to touch the tree to cast light in the hopes that lighting up the tree.
No, that's what you did. That's why you can see it right now, is that you cast
Okay.
light.
I was hoping to scare it. Was it scared?
It is not scared.
Shit. Okay. I'm going to roll initiative. Is that what I'm going to do?
You two are indeed going to roll initiative.
Why do you get 11.14, Valdis?
He has the dexterity breaker set in there, so that 0.14 is his dexterity.
Oh, so that if you die, you go by dexterity?
Yep. It kind of saves that step of me asking what somebody's dexterity is.
Cool. Well, I guess, Valdis, you're going first. Or no, I'm going first. I guess I'm going first. I'm going to
Yeah,
wake
I'm
up Justin.
still
You hope.
waking up.
I'm going to wake up Justin.
Hold up. You might not be going before the creatures.
I'm going to mutter to Valdis that I'm glad I woke you up. Don't you feel better about this?
I had such a nice dream, and you woke me up to this.
You could have been asleep for this. I don't know if that's better.
I mean, I didn't have to look at it then.
Imagine waking up and having that thing biting on your neck.
Okay, fair point. That would be worse.
What do you think it is?
So when he casts light, he kind of is like looking back to you to make sure that you're actually moving and the Valdis is actually up and conscious. And he kind of like reaches back up to cast light. And Valdis, as you're opening your eyes, you're going to see as this small creature extends out 4 wings from its body. Each of these wings is about twice the size of the actual body itself. And as you see eyes kind of glow and shine from the light of the tree, you're going to see that this thing has a single long proboscis that is about twice as long as its entire body. It is about to fly down out of the tree and stab into Island.
Oh, quick question. Should we put out our allies too?
Nope, you guys aren't going to have access to your allies anymore. 4 people is an adventuring party.
Okay, good to know.
15 to hit Island. That should
That
be a
hits.
hit.
Yeah.
And it's gonna suck 5 hit points out of your body as you just like feel this terrible pain, and you just see as this thing bloats and gets bigger and bigger. And then it's going to be on Island to react.
Oh, I'm going to try to get it off of me. I guess just inflicting wounds with a inflict wounds spell on it. Because I can touch it because it's touching me, right?
You're going to reach out, and it just kind of flies just enough out of way, keeping its proboscis inside of you. But as you kind of reach for it, you're just going to miss.
All right, I'm going to run towards Valdis. And stand and like just jump over him in the hope that I'm going to get his attention.
So what are you doing there? You're just jumping over him?
Well, I'd like to kick him with my foot, actually, but I don't know if I can do that in my move action, or if that would be another action. What do you think?
Not really. Definitely takes more of an action. You can do a performance at disadvantage to try to get him up.
All right, so I'm running, I'm yelling, I have a giant mosquito attached to me. I'm
That's a
performing
pretty
well.
solid job. So let me get a perception from you with Valdis. You need a not 1.
Assuming that means Jarek, right? Because Valdis is up already.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, Jarek.
Jarek.
Okay, yep. So it's enough that you're stirred. When we go back around, you'll be able to roll initiative. You are effectively surprised this turn. I mean, realistically, you can roll initiative right now, but you are effectively surprised this turn.
Sure. Okay.
And then Valdis, what are you doing?
I'm gonna let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna move over to Dirt and try to wake him up, like shake him. Would that be my action? I guess.
If you're trying to shake him, yeah, that's going to take a little bit more because that's pretty much guaranteeing that he wakes up.
Yeah, because I want to wake him up. So yeah, shake him and tell him we're being attacked by giant mosquitoes. Welcome to the jungle.
So same idea. You can essentially add yourself into initiative if you click Dirt and then click your initiative on roll 20. Excellent. Or beyond 20. And what do
then,
you got? You have... Yeah, I'll still have that one. My bad. What were you thinking there about this?
I was just gonna like move up next to Jarek and try to give bardic inspiration to Aiden.
Gotcha.
So you run up to me while this thing's sucking my blood and start singing a song or something?
Yeah, get you hyped up. You got this.
Welcome to the jungle. It's not fun. It's all fun and games. Is that it?
Basically.
All right. Axel.
And there you have what bardic inspiration does. You get a
Thanks.
d6.
Thanks, buddy.
And that should be it for me.
So I think it's the same creature that is on that will be next. And it is just going to suck points out of Island. And it's going to do... All right, I already did 5.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a 7, so it's going to do 5 more. And then it is going to detach from you and fly away.
All right.
Which right now, Island, as well as Valdis, will have opportunity attacks. And Yarek, you have an opportunity attack, but yours will be at disadvantage.
Island's gonna be down, so is he gonna get an opportunity attack before he goes down?
Negative.
All right, so Island's down.
And I think I'm actually still surprised this round, so I wouldn't have my reaction yet.
Nope. Once it's the end of your turn, this is like round 2. Once it's the end of your turn, you get reaction back. So you are prepared, basically, to react.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I would essentially kind of, as Alan wake me up, I see this thing trying to fly off. I just kind of grab my short sword and try to stab it out of the air.
Yeah, Valdis, seeing as it's flying like trying to get away from us, or is it like just flying up?
Yeah, it's flying away. Like, if you guys miss it here, it's going to be ranged only at that point. It's going to clear away from you guys pretty quick.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we'll take a swing at it too.
So as Yarek swings up, he's just gonna kind of miss this thing as it clears away from Island. And as Valdis was, you kind of like go to stab at it. You are just going to get drenched in quarts of blood as blood just gushes out of this thing and it just explodes. And it's gonna fall to the ground dead.
Ah, that's disgusting.
And then that will take it to Dirt. Which reminds me, Dirt, I actually need you to roll for your level 1 hit points because you don't get the starter hit points. So roll a d6 here. Solid. You do, in fact, get
Nice.
starter hit points.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Um,
Do I see
yeah,
any?
so right now you hear creatures around you. You don't see anything because you're basically coming to, and like the grogginess is kind of passing from you as you see this creature getting pierced from Valdis's rapier and just explodes blood over the three of them, most of it over Valdis. You can do a perception check to try to figure out where some of the closer ones are right now. So yeah, you have a pretty good sense that there are two more immediately swarming around you all. You can't actually see these yet, so to attack them with any ranged spell is still going to be at disadvantage. But you have those two. Oh, wait, did I select? My bad. Psych, not those two. That bug's not there. It was never there. You see those two, one kind of directly to the east of you, and one slightly northwest of you.
Okay, I imagine I position myself kind of here, like a coward. And
Yeah, so I think you've got the Alt button down. It's really one or the other of those, but yeah.
yeah, I kind of want to put myself next to somebody else. So I'm not out on the open. And I will cast Mage Armor.
Gotcha. Assuming you don't have any bonus actions, it will go to one of these creatures.
No, I will attack them when I've got eyes on them.
So this one is actually going to swarm up. This one is going to swarm down on Jarek. Are you still down on the ground, Jarek? Yeah. This is going to be an advantage because you're prone. So it's going to drop down out of the sky, stabbing its proboscis into you, and it's going to suck 6 points out of you. And then there's going to be another one that is going to swarm down on Echo, making her prone as well. And it's going to take another 6 from her. And then it will go to Island.
I just have have to do a death saving throw.
So you all see as Island coughs up. I don't know. I don't know if you've got blood to cough up right now. I don't think you've got blood to spare. But you see him coughing up a little bit of blood. So, some of you have some ideas about what kind of tricks Eku has to spare. What do you all expect Eku to do as she wakes up to this scene?
I think she'd probably, seeing islands down, she'd focus on him.
Yeah, that seems.
So, I'm vaguely sure that I used her Cure Wounds for the day, but I'll do another Cure Wounds on him, but it's definitely the last one that she will have.
Oh yeah, I was just if she could, I guess I probably was implied, but
I feel like we did 3 in that combat with the giant crocodile.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so I don't think she has cure wounds right now. She could go over and do like a medicine check on him and stabilize him. Or she can do some other stuff. What do you all think? I feel like something like bless, or she could actually turn into her natural form and attack.
I think maybe less.
Yeah.
All right, so she is going to bless Yarek, Dirt, and Valdis.
All right.
And then it will go to Valdis.
Well, seeing as I'm also out of my healing spells. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go up and hit the one stuck on Yarek.
Solid hits, and while there's a lot less blood, there's still quite a bit of blood inside of that thing. And as you stab through its blood sac, it pops just like the other one, falling to the ground and drenching you all in even more blood.
Yeah, they disgusting little creatures. Oh god. And then, as my bonus action, because Aiden is done, I'm gonna wait. Can I do this? Yeah, bonus action. Bardic Inspiration on Yarek. And that's the end of my turn.
So then it'll take it to you, Yark.
Okay, so Jarek's going to sort of he'll kind of scramble to his feet, give a nod towards Valdis as he kind of stabs this thing that was attacking him, and then he'll be kind of like, take care of that one, and then he's going to kind of quickly reach into his pack and grab a healer's kit and try to start stanching the sort of the blood loss and stuff, and get Island back on his feet with his with the healer's kit. To heal him for 7.
Yeah, I definitely fucked up attacking with one of those sturges there, but I don't think it really changes a whole lot. So Hylan is healed. You probably don't have any bonus actions, so I think
Yeah, that's my turn.
gotcha. Back to the top of the order. And what's your dex with Jarek?
16.
One is going to swoop down towards Dirt. 20 is going to bite into him. And I think that's going to... Do you have Constitution? It's going to do 6 damage to you.
Sorry, what do you mean by constitution?
Like, do you have a plus to your Constitution? Because otherwise you're going down.
Oh yeah, I'm on 1 health now.
Alright, gotcha. Yeah, my bad. You never really know with wizards whether they're going to put anything into Constitution. So yeah, that one's going to dive in, and it is attached to you right now, and then it's going to be your turn.
guess he'll like shriek and try and blast it off of him. Using, I think I have magic missile prepared. I'll just check. Yeah, I'm gonna send a bolt into 2 bolts into the one that's on me, and then 1 bolt into the other one over here.
Gotcha. So click it 3 times, but make sure that it only uses 1 spell slot. And then 1 more time. So the one on top of you is going to splat, and blood's going to go everywhere. The force of the magic missile keeps you relatively clean on blood. And then the other one is going to do the same. And Valdez, you're going to get coated with more blood than the others as that one pops, because the missile kind of like curves around Eku and is almost like hitting the Sturge from the opposite side as it splats. And it just appears that you're just the blood donor. Or not the donor, but the receiver.
Oh gods, why me? Ah,
And then I believe that'll take it to Island.
Okay. Island is going to. Well, right now it looks like everybody's down. Is that right? Like all the bad guys are down.
Yeah. What were you carrying when you went unconscious?
Daggers.
Gotcha. So like your daggers are on the ground. You can pick one of those up for free. You could stand up with one in your hand, or you could use your action to pick up both of them, basically. And then you can stand up for half your movement. But if you stand up with a dagger, like in hand, or if you want to check for like a ranged ability, you can basically like draw something that's a ranged weapon and try to listen to take an attack at disadvantage to something you can't see.
Okay, I'll stand up with my dagger in hand, and I want to try to sense where they are so I can fire off a sacred flame at them.
Oh, didn't mean to do that. Son of a bitch. I'm revealing the wrong ones. Do a perception check. So there are 2 of them coming up from the south right now. So if you're going to throw a sacred flame, pick which one. South. Gotcha. It's going to be able to move out of the way of the sacred flame as the light shrieks down from the sky above. Its body's just a little bit too small, and its wings move just a little bit too fast.
Okay, that's my turn.
And then on to Eku. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, that was a saving throw. So on to Eku. What do you all think Eku's doing here?
It's crushing mosquitoes.
Does she have any sanctuary left?
Right now she has you all blessed, but she does indeed have sanctuary.
Oh, but that's also concentration, right?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, so she would probably leave the bless up. I was thinking otherwise she could sanctuary dirt because he's looking pretty rough. I don't know. Does she have what weapons?
Nope. She can bite the fuck out of shit.
I mean, who needs weapon when you can turn into a giant quaddle and yeah, bite shit.
I don't necessarily disagree that switching to Sanctuary might have been a better choice.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to go down if he gets hit again.
But you guys are also pretty aware at this point, you need to hit these creatures and they die. They don't have hit points. They get hit and they die.
Yeah. So
That was part
so-
of the idea, in my opinion, behind having Bless out there, is that it increases the odds of getting those hits that cleans them up.
Right, yeah, and given there's a bigger number of them, that's probably, yeah, she'd probably keep less on. But yeah, maybe I don't know. Like, does it take a lot out of her to transform into her natural form?
No, not a damn thing.
I guess maybe you should do that. I don't know. Maybe even think to like scare these things off, or
I think you all pretty well know they're not really intelligent enough to have a survival instinct. These things are get blood, and if they can get away, that's how they thrive. So yeah, she can turn into her Quada form. Damn, I always do that. And I think she'll just fly to the other side of dirt. And if anything comes close enough to bite, she will bite it. And then it'll go to Valdez.
Well, I'll take a book from Ickes and just move in front of Aiden. And from there, I'm gonna do. Let's see, what's it called? A vicious mockery on the one. Like,
Do a perception for me first. Technically, you can't see those creatures right now.
oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that'll be good enough. So go for your vicious mockery. Think it's a wisdom save? Yeah. Let's see how many hit points it has. Yep. You're just gonna hear out in the distance. Oh man, I don't know if they can go splat without blood. But you just hear a little bit of silence where there was once the sound of flapping wings.
Let's see. Yes or no? If someone goes down with bardic inspiration, do they still keep it when they get up, or is it gone?
I have a feeling he still has it. I don't think it says anything about consciousness. And it's not really like a spell. Because normally, like, a spell is lost because you lose consciousness. I think they might be more inclined to lose it if you went down. But even so, how I interpret bardic inspiration is it's empowering words from you. That's not something that you need to be conscious for, nor is it something that they necessarily need to remain conscious for. So I'm inclined to say they have that for the 10 minutes, just flat out.
Okay.
Cool. Would you have, I was thinking of asking you to let me use it on my death saving throw, but that seemed just ridiculous. So I didn't
No,
do it.
definitely can't use it on a death saving throw. As far as I'm concerned, death saving throws are not even saving throws. I hate the idea that paladins and monks get abilities that affect it. As far as I'm concerned, that is roll a d20, and you've got a 55% chance that it's a good thing. But assuming that is the end of Valdis's turn there. The other one's going to fly down towards dirt. Eku is going to bite out as it tries to latch onto. Ooh. An 11 is a miss. It is going to attack Dirt. And it's going to hit, and that will draw you unconscious. You have a single hit point left,
Yes.
so it's going to suck the rest of the blood. I guess it has to. I wonder if he has more blood than it can suck there. I've never actually thought about it like that. So I'm going to put a 5 in there, even though it's only doing 1. But Dirt will go unconscious, and it's going to be on Jarek.
Okay, so Jarek is going to, turning from getting Aelin up, he's going to see that Dirt now has gone down, and he's going to, he's got the healer's kit already kind of out in his hand, so he's going to do the same thing and just try to get him back up. So that should bring you back to 7.
Thank you.
And he's like, kill that thing, and that's his turn.
What was your dexterity on Dirt?
14.
My bad. I'll have your stats like in my little sheet next time. So I have 1.
I'm not sure how you add the Dex mod to the initiative on D&D Beyond.
I think if you go into the top right of your screen, or in the bottom right, actually, in Roll20, you see the B. It's like a red B from Beyond 20, and you should be able to edit it to have under options, add dexterity tiebreaker or something like that.
Yeah, add tiebreaker to initiative rolls.
Where's that?
It's in Beyond 20 settings, like the small
Yep.
B. In the options, you can push the button that says add tiebreaker to initiative rolls. That should get the dex modifier into.
So 1 is going to fly down, make an attack at Jarek. It should hit him, and it's going to suck 7 hit points out.
And that's going to knock me down.
And then the next one will be Dirt.
Okay. Can you give me a wisdom save, please?
What are you casting?
Toll of the Dead.
Gotcha. No effect.
Okay. Then I'm done.
So that's going to go to Island. So I think you are, yeah, you're standing next to him, so you definitely would have seen this creature attach, like, basically right in front of you, and drop Jarek to the ground.
Okay, I'm gonna attack it with my dagger. The one that attacked Jarek. Phew.
Oh yeah, it's going to pop it. Shitload of blood spraying all over the two of you. Nice little bath.
Okay, I wish I could do a bonus action, so just give me a second to confirm that I don't have anything I can do.
Oh, this is a special kind of bloodbath because it is still pouring rain. Oh no, this is still inside of your camp. You guys didn't really move too much. So this is also like all over your gear that they're popping all this blood.
In the beat mash.
You guys would have eventually put the top back on the beat mash once you guys were done with dinner.
Oh, thank God.
That's what I got for a turn.
Gotcha. So we'll go to Echo. She pretty much has her bite, or she can cast spells. But again, her spells are all defensive stuff. So I'm assuming just bite out at the remaining one. She would be able to point out to you all that there's another one to the east. But sound good to you all to bite out at the one on dirt?
Yeah.
Or
Sounds good to me.
stabilize dirt, I guess, is the other option. No, wait, dirt's up right now.
Yeah, I got dirt up, and yeah.
And now
Yeah, so-
Jarek's down, waiting for me to get him up on my next turn.
Yeah, she'll bite into it. That's gonna pop in her mouth. There's going to be dirt blood all over Eku, as well as all over Dirt himself. And that will take it to Valdis.
Should I do a perception check again? Or
For what it's worth, you can cast on this one. It'll be at disadvantage still.
all right, then vicious mockery again.
Roll that damage. I need to not roll a 4. It's gonna pop. So that will kind of bring like another semblance of silence to you all as you are in this point. Jarek will have a turn before anybody else gets to him, so let me get a death save from you. I don't think it really matters though.
I'm
So
coming.
yeah, that will conclude that little bout. You all are able to burn another healing from the healer's kit to get Jarek back up, and
Do you want me
should
to
set you
roll?
all up to. Yeah, what is it? The D6 and
D6 plus my level, I think. So just D6 plus 1. Is that right?
It's 1d6 plus 4 plus the hit die, so it's essentially 1d6 plus 5.
Sorry, I'm just gonna ask. Did we rest before you used it on last time?
oh, did you use the actual big heal on him last time? You might have to get him up at 1.
I feel like we haven't. This was after the.
Yeah, we had a rest in between.
All right.
I feel like he
It
used
wasn't in the
before.
croc fight.
Not on Jarek.
No, Jared. Oh, all right. I remember wrong. He went down in the fight before, before we rested and met
Yeah, before we
River
slept.
Snake. So
Yeah, it
after
was
that,
either the ghouls or the dinosaurs, but then I think he hasn't used it since we rested with the Emerald Enclave on me, at least.
Yeah, there's 9 hit points for you, buddy.
So Jarek will shakily get to his feet and thank Island. Just one night without. And I kind of look at like all the blood, just kind of like spattered all over him, just like kind of shake his head and.
Alan slaps
All
him
of-
on the back and tells him, "This is why we're here, man. This is amazing."
Everybody looks pale. Everybody looks gaunt.
I mean, Valdis wasn't hit, but he's drenched in blood.
So sorry to wake everybody up in the middle of the night, but I think that's what I was supposed to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you,
mean- Oh,
you did
sorry.
the right thing.
Yeah, they'd just sucked us dry if you hadn't.
Yeah, wouldn't really have wanted to wake up to one of these things stuck on my face or something. So yeah, thanks for waking us up.
What would the ladies of the Emerald Enclave say?
Don't rest in a mosquito feeding place, I guess.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is what they'd say. All right, are you going to take the next watch and I can go to sleep now?
Yeah, I can take first watch this time.
Valdis? Yeah. I'm gonna sleep under this lit tree because the lit tree is lit.
Yeah, so I think on your first go at it, you will notice the rain is a little bit lighter. It's almost like a perfect level of rain for kind of washing off of the blood. And I think that's what a lot of what you're going to end up kind of doing will end up being, where you're just trying to clean yourself. Nothing seems to be any big issue at all. Second watch goes by much more comfortable. Definitely less bloody as far as you can tell. You can't really look at yourself to confirm, but it feels much better to not be coated in blood any longer. And you definitely don't feel that you're like encrusted in it. But after you finish, you can wake up Jarek. It is probably like the first light of dawn as you're preparing to wake him up. And once again, you guys basically have been unsuccessful at sleeping at night.
Maybe there's a clue there about sleeping during the day.
So as your watch goes through, Derek, you as well are finding yourself kind of lulled to sleep by hard rains and really just like the almost like a cacophony about you, and keeps you from keeping like a great watch. Nothing actually comes into camp. Everything kind of goes by. And in the long run, you start to finish up getting to like the sun is actually risen over the horizon where you can see it at times through the canopy of the trees. And I have a feeling we'll just reset to where you'll be waking up dirt. But it's kind of up to you guys, like whether you want to jump to island or to dirt right now.
Yeah, so Jarek would he'd mutter a little prayer to Lathander as he sees the sun sort of starting to peek over the trees. And um, I imagine after the fight we would have discussed kind of how we'd reset the watch. So
Yeah,
I don't-
100%.
so like island or dirt, I don't know which one of you wants to take the next one.
I think it's island.
Okay, yeah. So Jarek will go and wake up Island after his watch is done.
We don't really know dirt yet.
So go ahead to 2 perceptions for me. Yeah, as far as that like fight time goes, there's the fight happening, and then there's definitely time in between where like you guys are collecting like daggers or things that were thrown and used. Definitely like adrenaline kind of calming down moments. So there's definitely a good bit of time that happens inside of that hour, even though the fight only really took, I mean, technically how things go, I think that fight was probably about 30 seconds of your lives. Alrighty, so after Jarek wakes you up, you go on watch. The rain, much calmer. How far away from the water do you think you all have camped?
I'd say 50 to 100 feet. We wouldn't camp right next to the water. There's giant crocodiles in there.
How far does everybody else think? Like, does 50 sound good? Do you like the 100-foot?
Probably more like 100 foot. This for Valdez and Terran. They do not want to be close to any crocodiles.
So does that sound good to you guys? Do like 100 foot away from the water?
Yeah, I feel like we'd be a little we'd be apprehensive about what might crawl out of it, so we'd keep some distance.
Gotcha. So Tom, I've either not heard from you because your mic is done. Otherwise, I'm going to take that as consent that it sounds good to you as well, which is perfectly fine, or rather dirt. So when you go on watch with Island, you're not long, probably doing some level of, doing like some of your prayers and whatnot at this time and preparing your actual day. And you start to notice like clicking almost like snapping, but it seems kind of rhythmic. But there is some level of you're hearing some interesting sounds from the water, and it's very faint. It's not loud enough that you hear something horrendous. It's certainly not the giant crocodile. Um, but you're definitely picking up something from near the river itself. If you'd like to, you can go closer and investigate. If you want to just kind of hold back and see if you are able to see something, perhaps you will. But in the long run, you don't feel that there's much of a inclination towards your camp right now. But you are hearing something that seems a little bit different than you've picked up in these other few days that you've been out in the wild here in Chalt. But Chalt is definitely quite a surprising place, as you found.
So this is for Island. Yeah, I'm not going down there. I'm going to listen. I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to stay right around the tree with the light on it and hope that they don't come up to see us.
So what kind of cool archaeology? Yeah, you've got history. Let me get a history from you. So as you are kind of staring and watching, you see some sort of signs of movement. And it's kind of hard to tell, but you're able to see what seems like almost like really large red leaves that are kind of floating down, almost like they've kind of like patched up together. They seem to kind of be floating down the river, almost like a little bit of a boat, just kind of like a raft. But they're kind of there. There's a little bit of a Doppler effect with those clicking, and then it's kind of gone. But something just kind of floated down the river, and it seemed to look, from what you could tell, what you're able to spy from that distance, it looked more like almost like a leaf raft with like kind of like a rusty red, like tinge to the color of this leaf. But with that, you kind of sit back, keep a pretty good eye on everything, pretty concerned about everything happening, trying to make sure that you can actually make sure to get ahead on anything that might come investigate the camp. And eventually you feel pretty confident that it's time for you to go and wake up Dirt. And with that, Dirt, if I can have 2 perceptions from you.
Yes, you can.
So as you continue to sit back and watch after Island wakes you up, you have pretty good attentive nature as you're staring around, making sure nothing really creeps up on you all. It's a pretty quiet morning. Um, it's still raining pretty horrendously, and it's kind of picked up like from the moment. Yeah, really, that's the kind of big change that you all would have had. It was like a light rain when Island started, picking up into a hard rain, heavy rain into your watch, and then as Dirt's kind of finishing your watch, you feel like some level of there's like a hurricane kind of thing, like where you guys are in just absolutely torrential, blinding rain. But as far as everything goes creeping into your actual camp, there's not a damn thing. And I believe if everybody marks off a ticker of your um, mosquito repellent, which it's actually kind of interesting that there are issues with sturges with mosquito repellent. But if you mark off your mosquito repellent, you all can benefit from a long rest, and you can head back onto the river.
Once everyone's awake, Dirt will thank Jarek again for saving his life.
Oh, glad I could. Glad I was able to help. Those things are nasty. As if the regular mosquitoes weren't bad enough.
Alan's gonna like look bemused and embarrassed and be like, "Hey, yeah, thanks for saving my life too." Yeah, oops, sorry, buddy.
Well, I think we're even.
Well, nobody's counting.
And Valis will come in on this conversation going, I'm sorry, but do I still have blood on me? I feel like I still have blood on me. And starts turning around.
I'm not sure you'll ever get it all off.
Thanks for those comforting words.
I'd suggest you go dip yourself in the river, but I don't think that'd be a very good idea.
What, you think there might be more crocodiles or piranhas or fish trying to eat us?
All of the above, and probably more.
Yeah, I saw some kind of crazy red raft of material float down. I'm sure it was full of bitey things.
A raft? But,
Yeah.
okay.
You know, like a raft. Like you could climb on it and get eaten alive by, I don't know, army ants or something.
Once again, comforting.
Yeah, whatever it was, I'm sure it was terrible.
Well, we've already lost a few hours thanks to those things, but you all are ready. I suppose we should get moving again.
Yeah, we should probably get as far away from this place as possible.
Yeah, I think we're in the clear at the moment, but who knows when that'll change.
So, Dirt, are you like a escapee? Do we have to hide you from the goblins? Are they looking for you?
I didn't escape from the goblins. No, they. I think they were just going to eat me if they found me.
So, like, you know, telling one cow from another kind of thing. They're not going to be looking for you particularly.
No, but if if you want to hide me from them, if we ever see them again, that'd be great.
All right. Well, maybe you should sit in the back of the last canoe so you can snuggle up if we see them.
All right, and then he'll kind of awkwardly try to get himself into that canoe. And he's about 3.5 feet tall.
So, as you all partake in your wonderful beet porridge, you can kind of plot your day here. You are vaguely aware that 30 miles is about the maximum you can do. You can do about 10 miles in about half a traditional day. So it's like 4 hours kind of thing to do 10 miles, or really it's about 5 hours to do 10 miles. So when you guys are kind of looking over the map, of course it's on thin, you can kind of see like you can go for that's like 5 hours, 10 hours, and you're looking at like kind of 15 if you wanted to do that. That's moving at a fast pace and all day long. What kind of thoughts do you all have as to what you're trying to do? And you were basically, I think you camped 70 miles away from Camp Righteous.
Fast.
Well, we might I don't know, we might want to try and go slowly enough that we can keep a little bit of a better eye out for a potential trouble. I don't know if we want to Hopefully that whatever it is you saw island on your watch is long gone, but if we go too fast, we may catch up to whatever it was.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I want to go fast because I don't feel like we have any control, but we could have control of not catching up to that thing. That's a good idea because it seemed bitey to me.
And it may allow us to keep a little bit of a better eye on our rear as well, in case a crocodile or something just as nasty decides to pay us a visit.
We could like try to notice if we're being followed by piranha.
Yeah, when you guys are moving at a fast speed, you're effectively at disadvantage to like your passive perceptions. So trying to spot stuff while you are moving at a fast speed is much more difficult.
Copy that. And my passive perception is like 15. I want that to work. So let's go slower. Can we catch piranha and eat them? Like that a thing?
As somebody who's had piranha as like a fish tank pet before, they are a garbage fish, but I'm pretty sure you definitely could.
Well, we have food for now. Just be nice to give like a brace of piranha to the next goblin toll that we come across.
Yeah, so like does anybody have like a net? We can certainly say that you all saved part of that dinosaur that the Emerald Enclave kind of cooked up that night. That's the type of thing where pretty much you guys are aware of, and at some level can also warn Dirt of. Don't dip meat into the water, because not only are there giant crocodiles, but there's also these piranha. Um, so on some level, you could kind of fish on that kind of going about things. If somebody actually had fishing tackle, you could fish like that. But realistically, the net's probably the most common. But like, what kind of creative ways do you all think you might have to catch fish?
Is there any way to somebody would be able to essentially craft a net, maybe using some of the growth that's in the jungle? I don't know if there's like vines or anything that would be sturdy enough that we could essentially make a makeshift net out of, like weave together.
I have a spell that we could use, or a couple of spells that we could use if we could find a school of them.
Maybe tonight when we camp, we should harvest some vines, and then as the 6 of us are, or well, I guess it's the 4 of us are paddling, 3 of us are paddling. You could do some vine making back there in the back boat. Dirt.
Are you talking about sleep?
No, just like the next time we camp.
No,
we
no,
can
no. I
gather.
mean dirt.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's one of the spells I could use.
Yeah, I mean, as far as things go, it's certainly something that is viable to actually try to put them to sleep. And you could perhaps catch them that way. Um, it's a pretty solid way of assuming you guys can spot them. If you can cast it on them, they might just float up to the surface and you could basically just pick them out of the water. And from that point, you'd probably want to dispatch them pretty quickly so they don't wake up on you. But that's a pretty solid way to potentially catch them. But yeah, I would say if you guys want to make a net, that's the kind of thing that you're going to have to take some downtime where you're basically sitting in camp doing nothing.
Yeah. I was just curious. It's kind of like Islands just kind of dawned on him that there's a lot to eat here that we could take advantage of. And maybe when we get, I don't know, to one of these camps, we'll be able to buy a net. So just kind of idle chatter in the boat. It's like, wow, wish I had a net.
So more or less try to keep to a medium pace. Are you all going to try to do 10 miles today? Trying to do 20 miles?
20, right? Medium pace, 20 miles, 8 hours.
Well, that would end up being like 14 hours.
Okay. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I mean that sounds 14 hours at a sentence. Basically, it's like a full day. We can kind of it'll take us into the evening. We could do the same thing. Put light on some of the boats assuming we, don't run into something beforehand. Yeah, so that sounds good to me.
Yeah, sounds good to me too.
So I think what's your passive perception with dirt?
11.
And what is the order that you all are going with? Are we still doing Yarek, Aelin, and then doing Valdis and Dirt in the final boat?
Yeah, I think Jarek would volunteer to take the lead canoe again.
Well, if my passive perception is is pretty good, should I maybe go in the last boat? That's where the threats are coming from. I don't feel particularly brave, but maybe I'd notice.
I mean, now that we have 3 boats, the middle one might be the most protected.
Yeah. So should we put we have to protect Dirk because he's small. Should we put him in the middle with Valdis?
I
Feel-
will start making my way to the middle boat.
This feels like I'm volunteering to get eaten by a crocodile, but
You guys are pretty confident that you got away from the crocodile.
well, all right. So it'll go Jarek, Valdis plus Dirt in the middle, and then Island in the back.
Alrighty, so you all pretty much start your day off in heavy rains around high sun, progressing downriver for a couple of hours. Everything seems to be going pretty good. Rain might let up a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell the difference between like getting absolutely drenched and being really, really wet. But there's some level of you're pretty confident it's raining less hard for the next 2 hours. And coming into like midday, like mid afternoon, you do start to spot signs that your boat, Island, is being trailed by a swarm of piranha, as well as the front boat is being trailed by a swarm of piranha.
Ah, Jarek, man, we got friends again. Little ones, bitey.
Don't fall in the water, I guess.
Yeah, so basically you can, once you actually know to look for them, you're basically looking at these areas where the only thing that really shows them is that you see small ripples in the water on the top of the water. There's a slight sign of them kind of oxygenating the water from moving too quickly. But other than just almost like a glassy top to the water, they almost look like swirls that are left from your paddle. And there's like a lot of them are much smaller, like tiny swirls compared to your paddle, but that's how you're able to spot them. So once you point them out, Dirt, you see a swarm basically at the front of your boat. From where you're at, you can either try to paddle up and get beside Yarek to kind of get beside where the fish are, or you can kind of like drop back a little bit and try to do the same thing for the ones that are behind Island's boat.
Yeah, I'll ask. Is this something you want me to do? Use one of my use one of the things that I can do every day to get us some fish. It means
Oh
that I won't be
yeah.
able to help so much out later.
Yeah, well, we don't need the food right now, and I don't know. Having you be able to help out later when we get attacked by giant mosquitoes in the middle of the night might be good.
Yeah, whatever you guys want.
But it doesn't seem as if this river has any shortage of piranha, so if we decide we want some later, I'm sure we could find some more. But for now, it may be best to conserve our resources.
Dirt will nod and sit back down.
So as you all continue on downriver, there's definitely some like big like overall curves in the river. You start to feel like you're getting into that like straight southerly portion as your day kind of goes on. Moving, it was kind of light rains when you first started to see signs of the Quippers following you all. Rain definitely picks up into, again, some pretty heavy rainfalls. And you continue on through your day. At some point here, you all are going to see with just. Actually, let me get perception checks from everybody. At disadvantage inside of like torrential rainfall.
Weird. I rolled on my sheet, but it didn't come across. Let me do it again.
What'd you roll?
Let's see. I rolled 11 twice. Passive is 15, so that's pretty disadvantaging.
Well, like passive at disadvantage would be a 10 from that, though.
Oh, it would? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, it's two 11s.
advantage and disadvantage is basically plus or minus 5. As far as like the probability on the dice goes.
I wasn't sure how to roll with it, advantage or disadvantage, so I just clicked it twice.
Yeah, across this week here, I'll have like some talks with you to try to get that set up a little bit better. But that's something you can set up with the Roll20 options. But that works doing it twice like that.
I just changed my settings to always roll twice, so hopefully.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to go for. Yep. If you're in those settings, if you can have it automatically roll automatically roll damage and criticals. Basically, if you hit a critical, it'll roll that, but if you roll to attack, it automatically rolls the damage. That's the other good one there.
It looks like that's ticked. Auto roll damage and crit is blue.
Excellent. So yeah, I think as you all go down river here, Dirt is going to notice inside of this rain, there's a mist ahead of you. And this is something he's encountered previously that it's a pretty terrible illness that this causes. Let me have you all make. Let's see. I feel like give me. I feel like just doing Constitution, but at advantage. I think doing the advantage for noticing it is the best way to kind of deal with this.
Constitution saving throw.
Yes, please. Let me have somebody roll a d6 for me. And then somebody else roll a d10. And then I think we're gonna do. Let me get a 10 from Island, and then a 10 from Dirt. Alrighty. Yeah, so you guys feel pretty successful that you are able to dodge your way around the mist and don't have any effects from it. As you continue down the river, everything seems like you are doing good. And that's probably about 10 miles into your trip there.
Hey, can you tell me more about the mist? Like what kind of sickness do you get?
He would basically be able to share with you. Yeah, I feel like at this point, that's more something after we like develop his backstory. I like the idea that he has lost his party. I think he's kind of gone in a different direction from that. But I feel like probably the more likely thing that he's picked up is watching some of the wild creatures avoid it, effectively like it's a predator, more than that he's ever actually had to deal with it.
Cool. Dirt's being pretty useful.
Just one more thing to avoid in this God's forsaken place. But appreciate the warning, Dirt.
No problem, friends.
So yeah, as you all continue down river over the next few hours, as things kind of develop, and as Dirt kind of takes time to describe what he's seen, some of the creatures dealing with, how the goblins have avoided it, how even like the dinosaurs have avoided it. Island, you are scared as fuck about the very concept of seeing mist. It could be a low-lying cloud, it could be something else, but at this point, you have a maddening condition where you will do anything to avoid the mist. And that's what the mist does. You're afraid.
Island is afraid of the mist now.
Yeah, you have just a madness that you will do anything to avoid it.
All right. Copy that. I feel that strongly.
So as you all move downriver, this is kind of like into the darkness where you're starting to light yourselves up for a while again. And then we are going to progress forward as you all go further and further down. Let me get an intelligence from everybody here. An island, you can have this one advantage for your cartographer. Excellent. So yeah, Jarek and Island, maybe a little bit of a hunch from Valdis. You guys are getting into the portion where some of the like undead is really marked off as super dangerous on that eastern coast. And you know when you're looking for camp this evening that you want to camp, on that western or that northern side of the river to try to avoid, at this point, what you relatively understand is some of that deadly undead areas.
Yeah, I think we'd be safer with the goblins on the north and the west side.
Hopefully, undead don't swim.
Well, you all encountered the ghouls on that side of the water too. Like those locations that are marked off on your map from Syndra, those are like the heavily concentrated undead.
Right, doesn't mean there's no undead anywhere else, just means there's even more of them over there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Well, to be fair, I don't think undead need to swim. They can just walk on the bottom if they want to. Or float over, I guess.
Doesn't
Fair
always
point.
work. Doesn't always work in the zombie movies, though.
Yeah, kind of depends on what kind of zombies they are.
I'll say a little prayer that we can actually get through the night without too much trouble when we do make camp.
I'm sorry, guys. Did we get a long rest last night? Because I didn't take one. Did we accomplish it?
Yep, you did. Same kind of thing. You guys like basically got the long rest from like 4 till noon.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, you all are going well into the evening. Pretty good sense as the moon is starting to rise and become kind of easily viewable above, that you're probably getting pretty close to where you were hoping to get to. You're pushing, nearing that like 13, 14 hours on the river here, and you all can eventually make your way looking for a camp. Again, you've got a pretty good idea that you want to go for that western or northern side of the actual river here, and you all can again kind of plot and plan how you would like to set up camp off this section of the river.
So, what do you think? 100 feet away from the river again? Like walk up till we find something dry and flat and defensible.
Yeah, and maybe check for any kind of animal tracks around this time.
Good call.
Yeah, so we don't sleep in someone else's nest.
Death beak.
Or dinosaur.
Death dinosaur. Yeah. Death mosquito. Copy that. Who's gonna do this or like this tracking? I mean, Island will certainly try to track and see if he sees anything. Footprints.
Anybody else have survival?
Jarek can help him.
Yeah, Valdez cannot.
No, neither can Dirt.
Okay. So as you're kind of preparing a spot, looking for an ideal situation for you all to kind of rest for the night, you're definitely doing a good job looking around. You're not seeing any signs of any terrestrial animals, but you do start to look up for things like deadfalls and looking for a little bit more dangerous things. And you do start to spot some pretty incredibly tall trees that almost stand up like spires, silhouetted across the sky. And you're going to pick up that there are flying creatures above you, and you've got a pretty good sense that they've already spotted you.
Ugh. More mosquitoes, boys. Something.
We should get. I don't know how far away have Island and Jarek gotten from the others at this point.
I would assume that everybody's still grouped up together.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more or less you guys are leading it, not necessarily that you're going off on a scouting trip.
Okay, I wasn't sure how wide the perimeter check we were doing was, so.
I think I'll be able to tell if they were the same thing. I might have a good sense of it. Is it maybe the same thing as last night?
Let's see. You could do a perception here. As you're staring up at them, those were the same things as you saw last night. You should be able to hear them right now. They're the same size, but you don't hear anything. And you see them flapping their wings.
Shit, it's too quiet, Jarek. Let's find some cover.
We try and leave them be. Try to push on a little ways from them, but I have no idea how. For all we know, they're all over this place.
Let me get an intelligence from everybody. Gotta love that white one. So yeah, as you are pointing this out and looking up at them, as Jarek offers that perhaps leaving is the best idea, between Dirt and yourself looking off into the sky, these are creatures that are swarming prey. They're already hunting you. And you guys are inside of a jungle canopy. You don't really have a defensive position here. You guys need to basically prepare for an assault. Perhaps your best case scenario is like being back to back, but in the long run, you guys are about to get assaulted from above. You don't really have a defensive perimeter.
Can you set something on fire, Dirt? Maybe I'll stand around it.
I mean, not to be a downer here, but I don't think our friends in the Emerald Conclave would pretty much like it if we set the forest or jungle on fire.
I don't have the ability to do that. I could perhaps make us a shelter out of the earth around us.
You can dig us up like a foxhole we can jump into.
If they're coming from the air, I'm not sure how much that's going to help. I think we just need to circle around and try to fight off whatever this is.
I can.
Oh, what are you thinking, Dirt?
Well, I have the ability to mold earth, so given enough time, I might be able to draw from the earth around and create maybe like some sort of cave, a very small cave. Maybe something with a roof. I don't know.
What is that, 5 feet a minute?
It's 1 second.
Yeah, I don't think that's really going to give you an ability to make like an actual like shelter.
Well, I'm gonna get out my two daggers, and I'm gonna back up into Jarek and get ready.
Yeah, Valdez is gonna follow suit, put out his rapier, and get bunched up.
If
Yeah, I think in a stone condition, you could dig like through stone on some level with that. No, it's not even through stone, yeah.
And it looks like you can only do it twice, so yeah, a maximum of what, 10 feet worth of material?
10 cubic feet of materials. Not a bad amount of material. But maybe you can make us a thing to sleep in later after we have time. Because we don't have a minute. It only lasts an hour anyway, I guess, right?
if we're gonna fight, I'm gonna cast Mage Armor.
Excellent. What's everybody else doing? You're definitely impending fight, and that was I mean the timer took a little bit of time there, but you guys are definitely on that spot.
Yeah, we're back to back, ready to go.
Yeah, Jarek's he's drawing his weapons. If he has time to draw both, otherwise he'll start with the scimitar.
Yeah, I think how it played out, you guys have that time.
Okay,
I think
yeah,
that's the big thing about that actual survival is I was basically thinking you guys have 12 seconds from that happening. You guys basically saw the attack coming instead of me surprising you.
Like, so we got like 2 actions out of it, maybe. Gotcha. 2 6-second turns.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you guys see these creatures are acting like predators. You've already been spotted a while ago. It's just now that you're noticing it.
I have a little PTSD, Mara, about getting killed by, pack tactic birds. So
How far
Yeah,
away?
those were awesome.
thanks for that. Awesome for you. I ended up dead on day 1 of the campaign.
Dying characters is the best part of D&D. Because it's not you.
It's true.
I've
not
played
me.
D&D where a DM won't kill you, and that shit drove me nuts.
Well, I'm fond of my sort of archaeologist. I guess I'll just play the other guy the same way, even though we won't have all these skills. But anyway, so we're ready back to back with our weapons out. Should we roll initiative or their tokens or something?
Before that, Valdus is gonna cast heroism on Yarrick.
And what were you trying to do over there, Dirt?
If we've got 12 seconds, I will, after casting that spell, I will also dodge.
I'm going to say your mage armor is that last part. Nobody jumped right to it as I told you that these creatures are flying ahead. I think you guys were trying to still plan something that was more defensive. That's what I mean. Like, the moment I kind of told you about them, I was imagining it that you have 12 seconds. Place yourselves, decide where, I guess I could have had it on a dark one. But decide where you guys would like to actually kind of battle here, and then decide what you want Echo to do.
I'm thinking maybe she would cast Bless as the first thing again.
Who do you all want bless?
Probably Jarek, Island, and Valdis.
So not the new guy. Is that what you're saying?
I was thinking who, because
I'm just teasing.
in terms of like weapon attacks and stuff.
Yeah, no, I can use the hope certainly with my weapon attacks. And I didn't get blessed last time, so that would be nice to be included.
But
Oh, shit. I fucked up. Hey, when you guys all level up, are you sticking to the same classes?
I am.
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
yeah.
So let me have you all roll hit points. Yeah, I was waiting for you guys to long rest to actually be able to level up there. So when you woke up this morning, you were good to go. So I think, what is it, a D6 from Dirt. I think it's a D8 from Valdis. And then I think it's a D10 from Jarek. And what is Island? You're a cleric? D8 as well?
Oh, it sucks. My roll sucks. Can I use my inspiration on that roll?
No, you cannot.
That's like the first time I've ever actually gotten a good hit die roll.
Nice. Well, yeah, you've suffered under that one, haven't you? In the past. Congratulations.
So while I'm still finishing setting this up, you guys can do your actual levels up to level 2. And then as well, once you're finished with that, you can then kind of return to Roll20, where you can like move yourselves, position yourselves, roll yourselves into initiative kind of thing.
So I think what Island we decided we were kind of back to back, right? So I'll move over here.
Cool. So we have a lot of light. I think I might drop my cantrip light at some during my last long rest because I have choices with these things. Like, is everybody else keeping theirs?
Yeah, you could get rid of a cantrip right now. In general, your cantrips, once you pick them, you're pretty well set into them. You guys are still low enough that that's fine. But in general, your cantrips are kind of, once you pick it, that's what you've got. Or at least it's something that you actually take time to retrain, not necessarily retraining in the jungle.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hang. I mean, I would want to have light in the long term. It just seems like we had a lot of light between us. So I'm gonna hang on to it then. I already used it when I was on watch. I was pretty pleased. I lit that tree up. It probably looked great in the middle of the jungle. Big beacon that says "Come here." We're over here. But I'm gonna add. That's my spell that I can add. And that's okay.
So I went divination wizard. Does anybody know of a way other than just rolling 2d20 and roll 20 to do that on beyond?
No, yeah, it's just roll 2d20 and you just kind of keep those like pretty much written like on a scratch piece of paper or in your note section for each day. So are you all comfortable where your tokens are right now on the map?
Yeah. Well, Alan and I are back to back. I don't think anybody else has like got set up yet.
I'm happy here and amongst the team and the rocks.
Yeah, did we sense a particular direction they seem to be coming from, or just kind of surrounding us?
They're like high above you all. You guys expect to be dive bombed.
Okay, got it.
That's part of what I was getting at. You guys don't have a defense against something like this because it is coming from above.
Yeah, so I think the idea was essentially just kind of stick together and kind of.
So it's going to start with Valdis. The creatures are flying above you. Still wells away. They're within sight. And you can try to judge the distance if you'd like to make a roll for it. But at present, they're still, again, a ways away from you.
I owe you initiative, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah, yep, definitely get in on initiative. So you and Dirk can decide who goes first.
You can go first, Dirk.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I want to see if I can tell how far away they are.
Do an intelligence. No, do a wisdom.
Wait, that should be a -1. Why is it not?
I don't know.
Yeah, should be a 5 and a 7 there at least. But in my character
Oh,
sheet, I
because
had
you're a bard. Because at level 2, you gain the half proficiency, probably. If you're
Oh
not
right,
proficient
I
in something.
do. Yes, I do. But does that work on?
Oh yeah, it's everything. Like your dexterity, I bet you rolled a, what is that? I think you rolled a 17 and you got +2 for your dexterity and +1 for half proficiency. Yep. Bards are fucking awesome, bro.
Yeah, I'm learning that.
Bards and rogues are those classes where like what they really are is experts. And then you can do pretty much whatever you want with that. So judging distance-wise, they're within 100 feet, but they're outside of about, I think we're going to say they're outside of about 50 feet away from you all right now. But at a vertical pace, at a vertical distance, and not knowing how large these creatures are, you can't quite make it out yet.
Then I'm just gonna ready an action and an attack for if they get close. within.
So like a melee attack if one gets within melee reach of you.
Yep. And because me, Jarek, and Aelin got plus, I'm gonna put a bardic inspiration on dirt.
Gotcha.
And that should end my turn.
Alrighty. So as you all focus into your circle, you're watching as one of these creatures is flying in ever tightening circles around you all. And it seems to be coming lower and lower, getting larger and larger. At the distance you all are at right now, it's probably about the size of like a human above you all. And that's going to, you're going to see another one kind of tightly following around that same creature, as well, flying in circles, getting closer and closer where it's getting larger and larger and holding high in the air. And it's going to go to Jarek.
Okay, so Jarek's like looking up at these things. He's kind of like, he's like gripping and ungripping his weapon. He's like just kind of muttering under his breath. He's like, "Come on, you bastards!" And he's going to hold a melee attack for the first one if it comes within striking range of him with his scimitar.
Gotcha. Yeah, in the long run, like unless you wanted to pick out a specific creature, you can just do a melee to the first one that's going to come close that you can strike.
Yep, yeah, for it gets into range. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And now I'm not sure if since I'm holding that action, I only get to swing once, right? It's not like a full attack action.
That's correct. Yep. When you're using a reaction, it's only a single option.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah, no bonus or anything, so that's me.
So you're going to see another one flying in these tight circles around you all. And while kind of like a focus is getting picked up by these three, five is going to be a Jarek. So this one's going to swoop down. Let's see what angle it attacks you from. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is going to swoop down and strike out at you, Jack, so you can react to it. That is a hit. Slashing it for 7. And then as it swoops down, it is going to make 2 attacks at you with its low claws, and then it's going to try to bite at you with its second, or with its mouth. Whoops, I'm still on whisper. Shit. So 12 and a 19 are a 16 and a 23 to hit you. So both of those should hit, and then the bite should be an 18.
Yep, those all hit.
And it is going to do... So 5 slashing, 4 slashing, and then with the bite, it will do 8 piercing. So 17 total.
All right, I am in rough shape, but still up.
Just a reminder, you don't forget you have heroism. You have your 3 temp hit points.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
That was very smart,
At
Chris.
the start of each turn, you'll get the 3 temporary.
Yeah, on the start of his turn.
Right. So for now, I'm still at 4. Yeah.
Is it the start of the group's turn, like when we hit heroism in the turn order, or is it the start of his turn?
Start
No,
of
start of his turn.
Copy.
Start of when heroism hits, that's just the counter for how long Valdis can keep it up. And then in particular, those are reminders to me that that player has to roll constitutions for concentration.
Cool.
So you have Eku, who's coming up in the order here. She has Bless going, and otherwise doesn't really have like attack spells, but can change form and start to bite these creatures.
She's totally gonna try to save us, right? She's gonna protect us, and attack them.
Yeah, I think especially since given they're flying creatures, she might. Yeah, she'll. Can she cast spells in her natural form?
Her natural form is why she can cast spells.
Okay.
She
Yeah.
literally hides her form to pretend to be a human. She is an actual coatl. Like that's her natural magical form.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think she would go ahead and transform. And then I guess maybe attack the one that's still that's
Yeah, I don't
died
think
down.
there's any reason for her not to go to the immediate threat. She will swing out at it. A 14. Solid hit. Let's see. Does 8 more damage. And let me have somebody roll a d20 for me. So as she bites into it, the thing seems to continue moving unaffected at present. But that will be enough that it is going to bloody that creature. And that should take it to dirt.
Okay, I'm gonna cast Toll of the Dead on that creature.
And it's going to take nothing.
Yeah, okay, and then I'll stay where I am.
Head on to Island.
Island's gonna. I mean, I assume this thing that attacked Jarek is within my reach, right?
Yep, at present it is down towards the ground.
Okay, so I'm gonna take two dagger attacks at it. Any luck?
Swinging out at it, the second attack with your dagger is going to connect.
Okay, then I'm gonna stay there. Thanks.
Your offhand should be different damage, though.
Let's see. My offhand. Yeah, it's got a +2 on it. So a +4.
Right? You don't have the actual fighting style. Yeah. That should be what is that, 4 damage?
Okay.
And that will go to Valdis. So you'll gain the 3 temporary hit points back.
No, it's on Yerrick, right? So on his
Oh,
turn.
my bad. I keep mistaking for some reason Valdis and Jarek.
Yeah, so I have them now, right? Because I use my. It attacked me before my turn, but then at this point it's gone past me, right?
Oh, I thought that one attacked you after your turn. No, it was after your turn. You would have soaked up 3 of the damage from having it, but you do not have them now.
Okay, so I'm at 7 with no temp instead of 4 with 3 temp. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna. How am I gonna do it? Yeah, I'm gonna do this. just stand a bit more in front of Jared, I guess. And then I'm gonna cast Dissonant Whisper on the one closest to everyone else on the left side there. One that's everyone hit.
Wisdom save?
Yep.
I think that's gonna beat it.
Dude, you're crushing the saving
Hey,
throws
yeah,
for these guys.
Any interest in using a bonus action?
I'm gonna give Bardic Inspiration to Aelin. Just for safety measures.
Thanks, buddy. I'm gonna use that.
How tall is Aelin?
6 feet. Pencil thin.
All right, the one coming out of the east is going to fly down from above, and it is going to dive into Aelin. So the claw attack, 15,
That hits.
one hit, second claw, a crit, and then the bite. Oh shit.
Oh crap!
So you're definitely going to be frightened of this creature until the end of your next turn.
Yeah, I'm frightened of this
If
creature.
it
Like,
actually gets to that point.
I'm frightened of that creature at my house. What is this creature? 3 attacks, 2 crits, endless saving throws.
So 8, 9, and 8. So 16, 25 damage.
You might be surprised to learn that I'm down.
Which one of those downs you?
The third one.
The third one? All right. And then the next creature is going to go for dirt.
Wait, maybe we need to recount that damage. I think it was the third one. Tell me what happened again.
8 damage.
I lived through
And
that.
then you'll go up to 17 total damage.
Okay. I'm down at 14. So that's the second one that put me down.
Gotcha. So you'll lose 2 death saving throws, basically.
Because of the following, whatever.
Yeah, because the bite attack will basically do 2 death saving throws gone.
All right.
And then the next one is going to swoop down towards dirt. How tall is dirt?
1 second.
I think you told us you were 3 feet tall.
Yeah, I feel like he's shorter.
Is it no?
Which is mean
3'6".
3'6". All right, so I think this one's going to be like 19 feet up after it goes by. So realistically, actually, that one just swooping by is going to. I think it's going to provoke an opportunity attack from Valdis as well as Jarek. The last one that just downed Island. Roll the actual attack like a d20.
Yeah, I pressed the wrong one.
Word. So
Sorry.
the first one miss. Jarek's going to crit. Oh, what a shit crit for 5.
Yeah, yeah.
Will I get an attack of opportunity? I have a what a stuff.
I think he's too tall for. Yeah, you can go for it. All right, and then the one that's going to swoop down, and it's going to pass by doing the same thing. So claw. Still on whisper. 14. Does that hit you?
This is on dirt, right?
Yeah, on dirt.
No, 14 does not hit.
Gotcha. A 21, and then the bite is going to miss as well. So it should just be a 1 claw. You will be afraid of it. It's going to do 5 slashing damage to you with the claw. And that one picks back up. I think it's going to be 23 feet in the air. And then it's on Jarek. So right now, Jarek, the one that is on you is like at your height. The one that is west of you is about 14 feet up, and then the one that is north of you is about 23 feet up. But you guys now have a solid sense. Once these creatures get low enough, they are swoop attacking.
Okay, so this one to my southwest is the one that's within melee range, right?
I mean, you could probably run and jump off. Oh wait, I do want to attack with somebody roll a d20 for Eku. But yeah, basically the easy melee one and the bloodied one is right on you. All right, so Eku's going to miss as she bites out at that one that just swiped at Dirk.
Would she get Island up instead of attacking, or no?
No, that was a reaction.
Oh, okay, got it.
Let's hope she'll get Island up when it's her turn. I don't think I've offended her yet.
If Jarek if he has a chance to reach the one he's already hit, probably the bloodied one, he would go for that one if it's within.
Excellent. Go for that attack. Solid hits. It's got 5 hit points. That's definitely going to take it down. So essentially, as it's swooping into you, I think you got 2 like scimitar slashes on it. You're definitely just going to like shred that little guy.
All right, and then with my bonus action, I'm going to go ahead and second wind. Oh shit!
It's okay. You got the good roll for the hit points.
Plus, you get 3 hit points every turn.
Yeah, I remember to add those back this time. Yeah. So that's my action, bonus action, and that's all I can do.
This one is going to swoop down, and it is going to pick up Aelin.
Pick me up and do what with me? Eat me?
Do I get my reaction back now to try to swing at it as it?
Yep,
flies
you have
by?
another reaction as you've had your turn.
We've all had a reaction as it flew by, right?
Nobody else had their turn yet, though, to get it back.
Okay.
So, solid hit on it as it flies by and grabs Island.
Yeah, and Jarek's like, Island! But
Drops Island, maybe? No?
Nope. All right, and he did 5 damage. So, you all know this game quite well. Eku has one choice here. She can heal him or try to grapple him. If she pulls him away from it, he has to try to live on his own. If she heals him, he's still inside of its grasps. What do y'all want her to do?
Heal him. Anyone disagree with that as the better option? I got 1 saving throw left. In 2 turns.
I could stabilize him on my turn, but he's...
No, he's flying away with it.
Oh, yeah.
And your turn is before mine, but I don't think you can get to me.
She could technically, if she's able to get it, she could take him back there. But that's the big gamble for sure.
I'm good with leaving it up to Larry on, because I can see an argument for both. Just trying to get him out of there because he's gonna be in, pretty rough rough situation either way.
But in one situation, I'm alive. The other one, it's like a die roll to see if I'm alive.
I mean, the big advantage to actually doing the heal right now is it resets those death saves. Whereas even
Exactly.
stabilizing him, even when he's stabilized, he's still prone on the ground, where it's easy to kill him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'd say I agree with you. Heal is probably the better chance.
So let me have Larry roll. What is it? A d6. Whoops. I think her modifier is +5. I think it's the d6 plus wisdom for cure wounds.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Aku. So Island starts screaming and kicking now. Not sure
Oh no,
what's
wait, it's actually a d8. So roll a d8. That's a little bit better. So 13.
Still kicking and screaming now. Jesus Christ.
Oh, come on. You guys got a level 4 CR helper. You can have some crazy shit for one combat a day. So it's going to fly in. Oh, it's going for Aelin again, too. That's a good
Let's
Jesus
fight.
Christ, that.
It's going to fight the other one for my wrangling body, for my in midair.
I think that sounds good. Let me have Larry and Justin roll. Larry's going to be the one that has him, and Justin's going to be the one that's just flying in.
What are we rolling? D20?
It's just a strength, yeah, just a d20. So yeah, it's just flying up to you to try to grapple you out of its claws. But that's pretty solid in understanding that these creatures are here to take meat home. Once they have something dead, that's all they're looking for. And it's going to go to dirt.
And they can carry 150 pounds plus 120 pounds of gear, 270 pounds.
Oh yeah, you're not shit compared to them.
How big are they? Like wingspan?
They're probably They're probably about 15-foot wingspans. They themselves are large creatures.
So do they have a 10-foot reach?
You've not seen them strike out at anybody from 10 feet. Everybody they've struck out at, they've like basically flown within your melee.
Got it. Go dirt.
I'm gonna hit. How far up in the air is this one?
I think that one is still low. Yeah, that one's like 4 feet off the ground right now.
Okay. Has it been hit yet?
You can do a perception to look. None of these creatures are like suffering from the bloodied condition where you can just see that they are injured.
Okay, I'm just gonna put 3 magic missiles into this guy. Try and bring him
Gotcha.
up.
So same idea. Just click it 3 times. Make sure that you don't expend over 1 spell slot. So for 7 and 9 damage. So you just see as these 3 like little dots of force just blast into its back. Definitely injures it. The creature is definitely suffering from it. Not yet is it like acting physiologically like it's suffering from these wounds. But unless you have a bonus action, it will go to Island.
Yeah, I'm done.
So, Mara, what I want to do is inflict wounds on this thing that's touching me, that I'm touching. I have to somehow like ungrapple it to be able to do that.
Grapple doesn't actually affect your ability to attack. You just have 0 movement. So at this point,
Cool.
you can basically like try to contest strength with it to get free, or you can do the inflict wounds. But it is effectively still rolling to hit it, even though you're inside of it.
Yeah, I want to inflict wounds.
Because realistically, like it's got you by the shoulder blades. Yeah. So
I'm gonna use my inspiration?
Well, the inspiration now is a plus. You have 1
Oh
inspiration.
yeah, that's
I
right.
think.
So it's just a +1. Right? Yeah.
He
Okay.
has bless
Bardic inspiration.
and bardic.
Oh,
right?
you do have bless as well. So do
1d6.
a D4.
Oh, I have a bless bonus. Bless gives me a bonus to attack also. Okay.
And then if you'd like, after you roll the D4, you can decide whether you want to use the bardic.
I do.
So roll a D6.
So that's a 16 now. And my
That feel pretty
inspiration.
comfortable.
I wasn't paying attention to know what the number is, but I think so.
If you're ready to go for it, you do have 2 inspirations, but you can also decide there.
No, I'm using my inspiration. I need to kill this thing.
All right, so you sink it into that creature, and it is severely wounded, but it's still flying.
But I didn't roll the damage.
Oh, I thought there was a 15 there. Yeah, it's definitely going to fall out of the sky.
Awesome. That was worth
And
using
you're only
all my
5 foot above the air, so you are not going to take any falling damage.
That's the greatest thing that's ever happened in D&D. Thank you.
And with that, I don't think you'll have a bonus action there, so it should go to Valdis.
I'm just gonna do vicious mockery on the one like straight north of Yerrick.
Gotcha.
This is where you swear at the thing and it takes psychic damage, right? It's just a crazy thing.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
not much, but
It worked great last night. I swear a lot. I think that would be a great thing for me to have.
it's fine. You literally just insult people and they take damage.
Oh, well, and they explode. That's amazing.
Any bonus action from you, Valdis?
Yeah, I'm gonna put my last bardic die on Alien again.
That attack, that inflict wounds was better than the like 60 points of damage to that dragon that we fought.
I feel like Yarrick, you used your reaction right after your turn. So oh wait, it's not even flying away from you. Never mind. It got
Yeah,
back
but
without any problem.
Yeah, and I haven't gotten it back yet anyway, so.
So 2 claw attacks on Eku, and then a bite. And I think that's a whole lot of misses. Yep, just whiff, whiff, whiff. So this one is going to continue to go after Aelin. And it has disadvantage on its first attack. Big ol' 1, another claw. I think a 15 hits, and then the bite. I think a 12 misses. So the
That's
1
right.
claw attack. So it'll do 4 slashing damage to you as it flies back over.
Did I lose my being afraid when I died? I'm not sure how it goes or how it works.
It was to the end of that turn, and I think it's only against that creature.
Okay. Which is now dead.
Yeah, I guess it would have been frightened until the end of that turn, until the end of its next turn. So I think technically, yeah, you were afraid, but that inflict wounds was pretty fucking epic. So
I was
let's
pretty
pretend
afraid.
like you weren't. So yeah, it's gonna fly back over, claw at you, and I think this one is going to fly. I think it has another 30 feet that it's flying like up away from you and up into the air, so you can take a reaction.
Cool.
It's a hit. And then it's going to Jarek.
Okay. Are any of these within reach if I like close enough to the
one
ground?
to the northeast of you, I've got it 14 feet. As far as I think, that is probably within reach. It might be the type of thing where you're running up to it and like jumping to make your attacks, but I think 14 feet is still within reach of you on the ground. Because what, you're probably 5-6 feet?
Yeah, about 6 feet, and then
Your arm and your rapier probably gives you about another, 5 or 6 feet. So I think that's within jumping distance.
okay. So I think essentially what so I'm gonna essentially run and jump and kind of with like both weapons out and kind of like slash one after the other. And sorry,
the
the
first one is with the bonus.
So I took the 2-weapon fighting, so I can use my modifier with both.
Oh, okay, I've got it. Your fighting style is 2-weapon.
Right, yeah.
So both of those are going to connect. And let's see, you're going to do 16 damage. It's definitely going to leave this one bloodied. It is still flying.
Yeah, and then can I actually sort of, as I'm like slashing that, can I use my action surge to attack it again?
Most
Like in
certainly.
the air? Yeah, so it's like kind of like just like a flurry of.
So I think that's one more scimitar.
Yeah, I don't know if it. Yeah, so one additional action. So yeah.
Also a hit. 8 more. Just enough that you're pulling it out of the air with that attack and you're dropping that creature to the ground.
Teach you to fly off with my friends. And that's all I can do.
One's dead. Onto Eku. There are 2 of them flying. One is 30 feet above Island. The other one is about at ground level northwest of Island. What do you all think?
I feel like she might go for the one that's higher up if she can reach it, because none of us can fly.
I mean, I would think she would probably go for the one closer to Island because so far she's been fighting, like protecting us.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
She also puts creatures to sleep when she bites them. If something's asleep in midair, it's falling to the ground.
Well, she can reach everything because she can fly, so we want her to attack the ones that are up in the air.
Yeah, that was kind of my initial thinking.
Yeah, part of what I would say is these things are bigger threats from the sky because they do their dive bomb attacks. That's literally why they are disengaging, is because their attacking style is if they come from 30 feet away, I almost think of it like they probably have like a natural whistle as they speed up. and that's part of what's causing the fear. But that's their fear comes from dive bombing you, so that's why they're flying up high enough to do that. But it's ultimately your choices. So low one, high one.
Yeah, then shoot. I think high one, actually, then.
High one.
That sounds good. She will bite it. Let me get somebody to roll a d20. They do not have that kind of constitution. It is going to fall out of the air. Let me have just a d6 from Tom, Justin, and Larry. You guys get 14, you kill it. Oh, I don't think it's possible anymore. So what is that? 10 damage. That thing falls to the ground. It is severely bloodied. You hear massive, like, cracks of bone as it lands into the earth.
Which of the two is it?
The one directly north of you. Yep.
Okay.
And then it's going to go to... I know you guys are going to be so stoked to see this, but... Got one more.
Jesus.
Not all encounters are meant to be won. And if you guys didn't choose Eku as your guide, I don't think you could have won most of these. So it's going to go for 5. 5 is Eku, so it's holding high to battle her. And it's just going to go 2 attacks with the claws and 1 attack with the bite. And all of those are going to miss. And that one's 35 feet above. And that will go to the other one, ground level. It's going to swoop for Jarek, which means it is leaving Island. So you can take a... If you've got a reaction, I don't think you've reacted with Island.
No, I had one reaction already.
Word.
Since my last turn.
So 1 claw is going to sink into Jarek, and it's going to do 7 slashing damage to you. And that's on 2 dirt.
Okay, so how far away from... can I get both of these with sleep without hitting my allies?
The way sleep works is you can... I think 1, yes, you could position it north of your allies, and it just hits the lowest hit point creature first.
Yeah, but that could hit...
What is it? It's a 20-foot circle? 20-foot
Uh,
radius?
Second. 20... So creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose.
Yeah, so basically, if you just chose the point behind them, like a point over there, you could get those creatures.
Like 10 feet away from me would be a circle that it wouldn't be... Me and Echo would be out of. 10 feet north of us.
Yeah, and then height-wise, you'd have to have it like 15 feet in the air so it can meet the 2 of them, because one's at ground level and one's 35 feet up.
Yeah.
Or just do the one up. Make it fall.
I'll do it so that I can hit both of them without hitting my allies.
So roll, what is it, 8d6?
5d8.
5d8. So you see is the one that has fallen to the ground. I don't even know how you would see the real difference. I guess Island would probably catch it. Falls asleep. Any bonus action from you, Dirk?
No.
And then it's gonna go to Island.
Alan's going to cast Guiding Bolt at the one that's 35 feet in the air that didn't go to sleep.
Gotcha. Solid hit.
Oh. Disappointing.
Solid blast of damage. No bonus action. Should go to Valdis.
Wait, I do have a bonus action. Sorry. Can I? Well, I can't. I can only use Healing Word with a cantrip. Is that right?
Exactly, yep. Once
Oh.
you cast a spell like that, you're pretty much limited.
Got it. Okay, no bonus action. Sorry, buddy.
Let's see. The one north of Yerrick. How far up in the air was it?
That one's at ground level right now. It's right above his head.
Then I'm gonna go up and stab it.
Solid hit.
And I don't have any bonus actions. Nope.
And then it's gonna go to the dead one and the one that is asleep. It's on Jarek.
Okay, so I'm going to attack this one still at ground level near me.
Solid hits.
And I might use my inspiration on the second one. Click it on
15 more damage.
And I've got no bonus actions left, so that's it for me.
Get move. Like you get a reaction, right?
If it flies away, I'll have it back now. Oh yeah, and Dirt, don't forget you got those divination die.
Yeah, I'm looking out for an opportunity to use them. Kind of tricky when I don't know people's AC yet.
Oh, cool. You're a divination wizard?
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was playing a divination wizard in another campaign, but sadly he did not last long enough for me to use it very much.
What are you guys thinking for Eku's attack here?
Probably the one that's got guiding bolt on it, right?
Yeah, the
Attack
one
the
up
one
in the
at
air.
the air.
Not gonna do it. So it's gonna go to that one. It's gonna attack Eku. Neither of those are going to hit. And then the other one is down by Jarek. It's gonna go for Jarek again. What's your AC? 15? So the 16's the only hit from that. One more claw swiping into you, dealing 4 damage, I think. Yep, 4 damage.
Okay.
And that's going to take it back to the top there with Dirt.
Okay, can this one please give me a wisdom save?
Yeah, when you cast it, just go ahead and roll it regardless. So that's going to do the damage. It is damage, so it's doing the, what is it, D10s?
Yeah, what's the spell you're casting?
Toll of the Dead.
Copy that.
And then it's going to Island.
Which one did you attack?
I
Dirt.
attacked-
Dirt just went for the one that's on the ground to your west.
Okay.
There's the one that's on the ground sleeping in front of you, and then one that is basically battling in the air above you with Eku.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give the one above me with Echo a sacred flame. Well, yeah, sacred flame.
Fail, taking 3 more. I think that will put this one at the bloodied condition. Nope, still above it.
So
Getting low.
that's my cantrip. So that's one cantrip on an action. Can I do
Yeah,
healing?
here you could healing word if you wanted to.
Okay, I'm gonna healing word on Jarek. The
You
one
don't
on
even
the,
have to move for that one either, but you are still welcome to.
oh yeah, okay, cool. I'm sorry, I had it in my head. I had to touch him. There you go. There's some hit points, buddy.
Much appreciated.
I'm gonna stay put because I want to be near the sleeping one when I can kill it.
Have you been taking the 3 at the start of your turn, Jack?
Yes.
Word. It's going to go to Valvis.
Mine are not temporary hit points though.
No, but those temporary hit points have come in very handy.
Yeah, I was thinking you might be in kind of rough shape over there, and that thing's still trying to eat you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to stab it again.
So I am, with that healing, I'm no longer bloodied. Aelin.
With the bless, you are
Good.
able to land that hit.
Bless is awesome. And let's see. That here. Yeah, that's the end of my turn then.
On to Jarek.
All right, gonna keep going after this one right next to me.
And that's going to take it down.
In that case, if the first one takes it down, could I have run over and attack this sleeping one?
For what it's worth, yes. That's actually one of the reasons for other kind of initiative styles. Because I think it makes most sense if you sync all of those attacks into the creature. But the way this initiative is set up, it is perfectly there for you.
I mean, it makes sense that I would just essentially I'm slashing out at the same time, so I would have my second attack going before I even realize the first one killed it. So I think it makes more sense. I'll just essentially land an extraneous second attack on the dead one.
Yeah, it's just
Exactly,
like, yeah, like instantaneous. Didn't have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't have enough time to stab it, see it killed it, and then run over and stab the other one. Yeah, like narratively.
Yeah, I've been meaning to talk about another initiative style that actually rewards some of the different choices people make on going faster. But it's going to go to Eku. I assume you guys want her to attack the flying one again?
Totally.
Yep.
That will be a hit. Dealing another 9. Somebody roll a Constitution for me. Just a D20. And that one's going to fall out of the sky. They're 35 feet up. Let me have same thing. Let me have Justin, Larry, and Tom roll a D6. Yeah, that one's definitely going to fall, and its skull cracks open on the ground. So, as you all clean up this initiative here, you have the sleeping one on the ground. For what it's worth, whether you guys think about it or not, we are going to wrap up with this of basically you all moving into position, preparing to all attack at the same time, and effectively somebody gets to decide when to attack, and everybody else is going to react to it. And you guys can basically finish that creature in a foul swoop. And that's where we will end things.